put him in the spot, but Obed said that he would have liked, from a player's perspective, that the team was a little sluggish in the start. Would you agree with that?
Maybe. I'm not so sure. I mean, we didn't play up to our potential. Whether that was sluggishness, whether that was sloppy, whether that was not making plays. If you looked at the first 5 chances that we had in the first half, we should have scored at least one. We did score. And, then the second half, we scored again. So, sluggish maybe, interesting adjective, but that's his deal. If he thinks he was a little sluggish, then he still ran 13K. His numbers were still high.
In this team, is there a lack of attention to detail and in that final third, and that is like knowing when I'm offsides, those little things that,
Well, if you're talking about Georgie, he'll learn that. I mean, De La Vega was offsides once on a corner kick last year, I think, or this year. I can't. Timbers. It comes with that position because, we want to get a guy in that position, but, you need a little savvy there. You need a little vision. He'll get it.
Did that ball look like it was going into you?
We looked at every different camera angle, and it was hard to say. I mean, Jordan thinks obviously it was going in. Georgie wasn't sure. And in that moment, Georgie made a decision, and, it was maybe the wrong one. We don't know.
Going back to there was another offside call that Jordan was on, and when you look back on that one, do you have any notes for Jordan? Because it looks like he could have checked his run a little bit more, and it wasn't like he was in anyway. He still had work to do after he.
You're talking about the one in the second half when he scored?
Exactly. When Albert scored, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the trick there is we've discussed it with him that, he's coming off the back shoulders of his defender, but he has to get himself onside. That's just it's his job. And sometimes forwards, they press the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper kicks the ball down the field. Well, it's still his job to get himself onside because you never know what happens, and you never know when you're going to get the ball again. And we addressed it. He knows. I mean, he was close. I mean, he was getting there, and maybe his timing was just, off. But
so, is it fair to say that you didn't think that the team was disjointed a little bit throughout the start of those?
I didn't think we played well. But we created enough chances, and we scored 2. But we came out with no points. That's the reality.
The way you sounded out in the press conference, it seemed like you alluded to maybe RSL being a higher parameter to test your team compared to the Antigua. That they have certain limitations there. Do you feel like you would change anything about the way you handle the Antigua second leg in this RSL game, whether it's personnel, tactics, or approach?
We needed to get past Antigua. That was a tricky opponent. We made subs after we scored the goal. Maybe the tactics next time we go to RSL, I might just pack the bus because we haven't won there in ages. So maybe I'm going to try some new tactics then.
Brian, were they jamming that first pass in transition?
Say that again?
Were they jamming that first pass? Once you got the ball, it looked like you had that first
Jordan
pass.
got in the first half. We created in run of play and from a goal kick two clear chances that we could have done better at when we played the ball forward in a quick transition moment when we defended higher up the field. So, RSL, what RSL did, and what we have to come to grips with is we used to do the same thing against Vancouver when they played 3-4-3 or whatever you want to call it, is they had their wingers high and wide.
Right.
And, they were able to get out of our pressure sometimes by their goalkeeper or one of the center backs to play that ball out into the wing channels. That's how they got out. So,
Brian, on the positive side, what are some of the things that you saw from the game on Saturday against RSL that gives you hope that the lessons that needed to be learned from this match can be applied?
You were over there with Obed in your Spanish interview, but we had 5-6 chances, plus we actually scored 2 offside goals. So the film review was showing them some of the good things we did, and obviously, the second goal was, not our best moment, and we do the same process all the time. You try and learn from the moments that aren't that good, and then you try and, make sure they see what they did do well.
What did you think about Kalani's game? So
Very
he had
good.
moments offensively.
Very good. The kid was very good. I mean, look, again, in the second half and the first half, there was 2 plays. When, again, that long diagonal switching ball, the one I believe in the first half, no, the one where he tripped over here and they got
the first
in.
half.
That was the first half. And then the second half, another long ball, and he kind of stumbled, but then he recovered. He's got that physical attribute to recover. Some of those things will just, when he plays more MLS games, he will figure that out. But I thought he was very good.
Is he someone that you feel like has an MLS future?
I do. I think so, for sure.
Brian, on this,
You might see him again very soon.
on their second goal, was that an intentional high line to push up as you were trying to get an equalizer?
Well, you guys normally watch the game once or twice. The ball
Yep.
came from their goalkeeper.
They did.
They had a sequence of 20 passes. Went back to their goalkeeper.
Right.
We had pushed a line, but then there was, the 3 center backs weren't all on the same page, and Paul could have provided some cover for Jonathan Bell, who I thought had a good game, but in that moment, that forward was fresh and give and go. We should stay with the runner, but we need to provide cover. Yaimar could have come back a little bit and pressed that first ball. I mean, it was a goal again that wasn't really who we are.
Cruz Azul, obviously a good offensive team, lots of talent. What are your takes on the challenges they present?
Yeah, very good team. I mean, we'll talk more about that tomorrow, but I mean, Cruz Azul is a very, very talented team.